It's not tomorrow. It's Wednesday, isn't it?
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, just get through the next few couple of days, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I've got what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4 webinars tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The improvement.
How did I get into this?
Don't know, mate. Well, we are live to the world.
Oh, are we? That's good.
Yeah, on YouTube. And it's kind of quiet start to the day. I have to to the week. I have to say, and I think it may well continue. But
Well, that looks like a dollar yen chart. It's gold.
this is gold, mate. Yes.
Yeah. Well, same chart.
Yeah, this is gold. Well, let's have a look. So, dollar yen. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, quite similar, aren't they? Just put that in there. Yeah, quite similar. Well, you mean the kind of triangle pattern that seems to be forming?
Yeah, just recent price action over the last few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got too much faith in,
really.
I've got no faith in gold. Actually, mate. Hi, Jay. Hi, Jan. Jan, how you doing? Yeah, I've got no faith in gold, mate. And also actually, there's a few things that I think is well worth discussing here. Oh, in fact, before we discuss this, why don't we put the pound trade on? Because I've got nothing that is imminent with the FTSE. I think there's probably going to be some further upside, but I need to do a little bit more analysis on that anyway.
Yep, cool.
So let's put the pound trade on, and then we'll come back to this.
Oakley dokley. Pound. Here we go. Ignore those guys. They're last week's at some stage. Let me consult the EA and see what we can come up with. All right, those of you in for the first time, welcome, number one. Number two is what we're doing here is we're trying to get a breakout of the last three hourly bars prior to London Open, which is 3 minutes or less than 3 minutes away from now. So we'll get that happening. The high of the last three bars is currently this one. That may change in a tick. The low is currently the same bar that we're on. I think we can safely put the low in. So the low entry would be 1.2810. So that will be a sell order. Sorry, I'll get that right. Hello. There we go. So 1.2810 will be the entry for the short. Looks like we may well be trading almost the one bar here. But the high of that bar currently is 1.2830. So 1.2831 will be the stop loss. 1.2831. And TP1 will be half of whatever the difference is. 1.2810231 is 21 pips, so we'll go half of that. 10 will be TP1, so we'll take 10 off 1.2810. That's a pretty easy one. I think I can even do that without taking my socks off. 1.2800. TP2 will be double the risk, so that'll be 42 pips. 42 pips under 2810 would be 1.2762. Sorry, 1.2768. 1.2768. So that will be the short trade. This is an OCO trade, so one cancels the other. If the short is triggered, the long is cancelled. At the moment, the long entry would be 1.2832. And there we go. We can put it in now. 1.2832. That we may even miss if it goes long. 1.2832. The stop loss would be the low of that bar. It looks like we may miss this entry, or I may miss it. 1.2811. would be the stop. So there's not a lot of difference in this order, is there, really? 1.2811. And whoops, that should have been the stop loss, you goose. What was the entry? The buy was 1.2832. And TP1 on that, the difference between there and there is again 21 pips. So we've got 10 pips of TP1, which we would take at 1.2842. And TP2 will be double the risk, which again will be 42 pips, which would give us 1.2874. Okay, so they are the orders. Just about missed the long entry here, I think. See how we go. 1.2832. And stop loss 1.2811. Yeah, won't let me take it. Okay, I'll consider that to be a miss at this point. And we may.
Is that just too close to price, is it?
Yep. Yeah, let me do it now. Okay. So that order is on, both long and short. Again, the rules are if we get triggered to the high side, we cancel the low order. And if we get triggered to the short side, we cancel the long order. It looks like I haven't got the long order in place at the moment. That's because I haven't. Should I bother? Yeah, might as well. You just never know. Sell stop, 1.2810. And 1.2831. And Bob's your brother's, or your father's brother, rather. Uncle, otherwise. I got that wrong, didn't I? What a dipstick. Trying to be smart and I bloody backfired.
Expose yourself to everyone.
Yeah, what a dipstick. Anyway, it's Monday, so I'm sure I can be far more of a dipstick with the rest of the week to come. Righto, guys, if you don't understand that that trade or that order, then as always, there are many opportunities for you to say that in the questions box. If you're on YouTube in particular, I'm not sure if you can actually ask us questions in Facebook, but yeah, ask them in YouTube if you're on YouTube. Right, mate, that is the pound trade for the day. I've got probably a couple of orders I can place on daily charts when you're ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just to really kind of touch on the week, really, and what the approach is going to be. Hey, everybody, by the way, Alan, how you doing? Sino, Swee, Shukri, SF, see you all in the room. Son is also saying, Jeff, there's a potential short trade on the Euro Aussie.
I will check.
H1, H4. So what are we on this week? Well, we're still looking for further grinds to the upside in the FTSE, but really there are, I've kind of got a bit of a different view depending on which market we're talking about here. FTSE 100, I expect us to continue to grind in this area potentially or possibly. I don't really see us going too far. Hey, Sandrew, how you doing, buddy? Custard. I don't see us going too far out of this range. It's the NASDAQ and the S&P that interest me the most in many respects, because I think these two are coming down. and we've just got to be aware of what's going to drive it and what would potentially happen. And Shukri, this as well. This really is my personal trade for the week that I'm really after. This is what I'm gunning for, and this is one for Shukri. Is Bitcoin. I really want to short Bitcoin, potentially this week, but certainly, Bitcoin is the one that says to me that we should be going short on it. Now, don't get me wrong. In the longer term, I'd quite like some Bitcoin, but for the near term, I'd like a short on Bitcoin. I'd quite like. Yeah, I'm quite into that one, Shukri. That would be my choice. Would be my flavor would be Bitcoin short. Now, that does depend on tomorrow. If I'm not going to look for a short today. It's going to depend on tomorrow. I'm going to just wait to see what the Fed have got to say for themselves. I'd also quite like to short some of these markets as well, some of the stock markets as well, which I suppose maybe is in line with the shorting Bitcoin thesis. I think one tends to go in the same direction as another. So I'm looking for shorts in the S&P. I'm looking for shorts in the Nasdaq as well. So I've got two brokers for Bitcoin. Fusion I don't have. So I've got three altogether. But this Fusion account doesn't give me Bitcoin. But Axie I can trade Bitcoin, and with Axie the spread is around about 14 pips. So it's 103.54 I should say. 103.54 is the sell, 103.68 is the buy. So quite wide. Yeah, I think that's the thing, Shukri, and that's what I'm waiting for. So what we're talking about is this being the big driver tomorrow, which is a good thing. If we know that that we're waiting on tomorrow, it does mean that that today's price action isn't of huge interest to me. But I can get ready. Let's have a quick look at some of the numbers anyway. So we've got tertiary industrial activity negative 0.5% from Japan, and revised industrial production at 8.7%. Actually, that's pretty good. It's a pretty good number by the looks of things. Yeah, it's a very good number. So a little bit of industrial production pickup in Japan. Industrial production from the Eurozone will be coming out in around about an hour and a half or so. Sorry, not an hour and a half, an hour and 50 minutes. And then really tomorrow is the big day, which I don't have tomorrow listed as my big day.
Should be Wednesday, Thursday.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Generally is. Where have I got?
You're right, mate. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yep.
Sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday's the big day. Oh, so I've got more of a quiet couple of days than I thought, actually.
I don't. Thursday, actually. You've got Aussie employment, BOJ, BOE, all happening on Thursday.
Yeah, on the Thursday. I'm just having a look at tomorrow. There's a bit of information tomorrow. Actually, yeah, the German ZEW does give us a little bit of information, but yeah, it is Wednesday. Wednesday CPI UK. Actually, it's quite a lot on the from the UK front. So yeah, starts on Wednesday. Quite a big week actually. Week 3 in the month doesn't tend to be so full of data, does it? I don't remember week 3 being sort of quite as busy as this, but maybe it is.
Well, it happens in every second, really, doesn't it? Because the Fed's every 6 weeks.
Yes.
The BOJ's every month, but BOE's every month as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right though. Yes, it is a Super Thursday. So Super Thursday, and actually that's going to be a really interesting one for the pound because with all the Brexit shenanigans going on and how difficult it is for the UK to get through this. And we got a vote today, actually, mate, just to be aware of. We got a vote in Parliament today to see whether the House of Commons will pass through the bill that Boris Johnson wants to effectively rip up the treaty between the UK and the EU. So Parliament will be voting on that today. And
so that takes us back to square one.
yes, it will do if they vote against it. In many respects, it will do. And I don't know if you remember last year, mate, but it was pretty bad last year. And you remember that Boris Johnson, what was it that he did? He did something, didn't he? Where that's right. It wasn't even as long ago. Yes, it was, wasn't it? Remember the summer recess where he didn't call people back because he wanted to get a specific bill through to do with the EU, and Dominic Cummings, it was all in the centre of it. But I remember it being pretty acrimonious last year, but then all of a sudden we kind of got a deal that came flying out the bag. And I wonder if this is the same kind of play this year. And Boris Johnson actually lost a vote in Parliament then, and it didn't affect his negotiating position too negatively. So I don't know what
I actually don't remember.
You don't remember? Well, there's always something on the cards from his, from this particular Conservative government. The front bench of this particular Conservative government are quite happy to go quite low. They're quite happy to go underhand, try and undercut what's going on with the EU. It seems like they might have sort of decided that trying to face the EU head on is a losing battle because the EU hold all the cards. So maybe the only way to fight is to fight dirty.
Always did.
Yes, it did. Yeah, always did. But they're fighting dirty instead, which could end up backfiring, or it might end up resulting in getting them closer to what they want. I don't know.
Well, he can go and get nodded as far as I'm concerned, because he should have fixed it up last week, and then the pound wouldn't have crashed and taken my pound trades out with me.
Oh yeah, mate, yeah, absolute joke, isn't it? Well, and we might well see some further moves. And this is the thing, actually. I'm going to look a bit further into the pound during the day and see if I can garner any more information. But it was quite interesting. I mean, this is the pound euro going on right now. I can tell you that there's not a huge amount of commercial buying with the euro pound. So the move to the upside may be a little bit tenuous at this particular stage. And inevitably a news event that has been released, effectively EU opposing. The EU. They might go in with Chandru. They might be going in with some legal. They might go in with some legal action against the UK, and they'd be well within their rights if the UK break international law. I'd be surprised if it came. I'd be really surprised. I know that we are on the edge right now with the Prime Minister that we've got. But it would be utter madness, and it'd be so anti-British as well to kind of to go and break international law, and I do think it would damage the reputation of the UK. I think what's more likely to happen is that they're going to eventually take their mask off and go, "Ha, just kidding," and we'll get back to some sort of normality. But he is walking a tightrope, Boris Johnson. He's playing a very very dangerous game of chicken, but he might win, and I suppose that's ultimately we'll judge him on his result rather than how he got there. But it'll be crazy if they went ahead with this, but it won't get through. Yeah, no deal, and that's the only thing that I can think is that right from the start they wanted no deal. So they will do anything in their power to get no deal. If it means breaking the law to get no deal, whatever it is, because they have been pretty aggressive. So they might look for no deal. Now, if there is a no deal, then the pound will potentially weaken significantly. If we look at the pound, it's possible that it's done most of its move, which means that if there is a deal, watch it reverse very, very swiftly. But it's possible that the pound has done, quite a lot of its move. But if we get no deal, I'd expect to see it near the lows again, sort of, within the next year or so. I'd expect to see it right back down here again. So watch out for the vote today anyway. So that's the first thing. Vote today. So
is there time or no?
There is a time, yeah. There's always a time. I'm guessing at 11 o'clock. So we should know by the US session.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we're watching it during the US session. Let me see. PM damaging US. Yeah, so hold on. This is so Geoffrey Cox is a conservative, and he's saying that the PM is damaging the UK's reputation with this bill. Former Attorney General Geoffrey Cox has said that he will vote against the government's attempt to override the Brexit withdrawal agreement when it comes before the Commons, but it doesn't say the time. Okay, let me just post it in. I will have a look. Right, let's have a look. The Brexit bill. There's no way those MPs should vote. I'm not sure, mate. They are, because it actually normally Forex Factory would list that, wouldn't they, as well?
If there was, yeah. Maybe it's just on the agenda, is it? Maybe they haven't said, all right, here's when it happens. I don't
know. Maybe you're right. I was pretty sure it was for today. I will find out. I guess if it's going to be today, it'll be during the US session. We'll know about it. Maybe some, and do you know what might happen to the pound before it? There's every chance that the pound actually starts to strengthen into the vote, because if the vote does happen, then obviously, you know, the likelihood that they're going to be able to break international law at this particular stage weakens significantly, and that kind of puts us back to where we were. So I wonder whether we buy into the potential votes, and then we'll see the actual direction of the vote. But I'd be surprised if the pound was to weaken before that. So I think longs with the pound, certainly in this particular session, would probably be the wisest of the potential moves, and maybe that puts pay to the FTSE moving up as well in this particular session. You know, I quite like the FTSE for some further upside, but there's no doubt that this isn't the best price point on a chart, you know, on a longer term chart, and therefore where the trigger area is, it would probably suggest something like 60-20 would be a much better buy zone for the FTSE. I still think the S&P and the Nasdaq are probably the best selling opportunities, but again, I wonder whether we are quite as high as we're going to get. I'm still looking for that genuine push up to this point, test the trend line again at 34. I would quite like. Let me just put that there. I don't know why, but my charts have got way too big for this. Yeah, so around about 34, 36 looks like a potential opportunity to go short. So I'm kind of on the wrong side of the play right now, mate. The moves are where the moves happening are what I need to see happen. Like I want to see the S&P strengthen so I can sell it off. I'd quite like to see the pound strengthen so I could sell it off. I want to see Bitcoin strengthen so I can sell it off. But all those things are happening, but it means that I'm kind of in that retracement phase that I can't really do anything about but wait through.
Yeah, that was kind of me last week, and it didn't come out of it. It just kept going.
It didn't come out of the retracement, yeah. Same with gold, actually. You know, I'm bearish gold, but only in the short term, and the euro as well. You know, I guess my general position is that I'm long dollar, so I'm also short on the euro. Now it's different with the euro. Actually, that's what I was going to talk about. It's different with the euro because the euro it's not coming back somewhere where I want to sell it. It's going away from where I want to sell it from, which is here. Now, last week we talked about this euro dollar, and I think we saw some pretty aggressive price action to the upside, namely this. But by the end of the session, the euro dollar had weakened significantly. Now, I personally think, and I don't know what you think about this, mate, but I personally think that this bar.
Sorry, you go.
This bar here.
Absolutely.
Is a very significant bar. And the reason that I think it's a very significant bar is that it is, okay, yes, you know, the fact that it's I guess you could call it a high test bar to a degree. It's not in the right place. It needs to be up. This is the real high test bar of this, but it's still quite a significant bar. You know, the fact that we popped up and popped all the way back down again. Now, it's not only significant just because of the way it looks. It's significant for me because of when it happened, and it happened after Christine Lagarde had come out and made her announcement. Now, we may well be forming a head and shoulders pan here. You know, this might be what we got going on, and it could be a complex head and shoulders where you see
1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians.
Oh yeah, and you got your 3 little Indians as well. Yeah, exactly. So we could be waiting on this a little while, but the amount of orders that came in here to push this price down as swiftly as it did by the end of the session, I thought was quite significant. So it appears to me that the high end of that bar that holds, and we're still bearish. If it breaks, then everything changes, and I'll be not necessarily looking bullish, but I'll be sweeping this one away. But I still like this one. We're really waiting for it to take out the low of that bar. You know, it's still within this range. Certainly I wouldn't be adverse at all to saying, okay, look, if it gets up to the top end of the bar, right back up to here again, considering the price action that followed that price point, I think selling that particular price area would be absolutely fine, and I wouldn't be at all adverse to that, with a stop up here, but with a mind that I might well come out a bit earlier. But somewhere at about 119.16 looks like a pretty good price point to see if the bulls and bears get into another argument at that particular high, whether it will fail again. But I thought that was quite significant because it was just after Christine Lagarde's statement. But what did you think about that?
Yeah, look, you bang on. I've chosen euro Swiss over euro dollar, but it's exactly the same setup. Not quite as pronounced a retracement, if you like, on euro Swissy, but it's exactly the same scenario. And I absolutely was not sweating on that candle, but I like where it is. It's at the monthly and weekly pivot. Apart from everything else, it's a lower high coming off the top of a range, and I've got 3 little Indians there as well. So it's totally attractive to me.
Yeah. So we are looking at those. Lewis, just on your point, if there's no deal with a pound being badly affected, will the investor also lose confidence in the UK stock market? Very unlikely, mate. I would say quite the opposite. If the pound is to weaken, and it's not really about the confidence in the UK it will be more to do with the UK government. The confidence in this particular government, I think, will fade quite significantly. But and it'll take a while to rebuild, but it will be rebuilt. But I think UK businesses will still be trusted, and I think that if a pound weakness brings in because we have no deal, the amount of tricks that the UK government are going to have to pull out the hat to lower taxes or make this place a much more attractive place to do business will, I think, inevitably strengthen the UK stock market. So the UK stock market is likely to go up if the pound weakens for that particular reason. So this is why I think that there may well be some money coming into the UK stock market fairly soon. I think some of the run in the Nasdaq and the S&P and the Dow has probably peaked out to a point for a little while, but I think the UK is still playing quite. It's quite still playing catch up significantly. You look at the UK charts on the weekly's good enough. Look at where we were and where we are now, and then you compare that to the S&P already back to the all-time high, and not even worrying about what's going on in the US. What about the UK, the Eurozone? Almost again right back to its highs on the DAX. All right, the CAC is different, and I know that the Spanish IBEX is different as well. But the UK is, it's a bigger economy than France, and it should really be certainly floating around. I would have thought more in this area than where it is right now. Price action should really be kind of like bashing around in here rather than sort of like down at the lower end. I mean, it's sort of it's way down, coming down at this point. It hasn't had any recovery whatsoever. So a pound weakening will certainly drive the prices higher, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see some movement out of some of those US equities into the UK instead of moving it into Europe initially. Yeah, I think that was all that was on my mind for right now. I can't got something niggling me like I've got something else to say, but I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, that's my point on that would be my thesis on UK stocks. If the pound goes weak, let's look for some buy signals in the FTSE, and it might be a good time as well, because while people are still kind of leaving the market with the FTSE, then we might be able to pick up a bargain down here and see it actually, go up a lot more significantly than some of the other stocks worldwide.
All right, should I go through my Monday watch list?
Let's have a look at the Monday watch list, mate. Yes.
Roger D. Hang on 2 secs, and I will pinch the screen. Exactly the same as the Sunday watch list, as it turns out, as it always is.
Yeah.
Okay, pound, that's been triggered long, in case you hadn't noticed. There's no TP1 yet. It's about 5 or 6 pips away from that.
I think that's all right, mate.
So far, so good.
Long pound. Yeah, I think that's okay as we kind of head into a bit more quiet waters. Last week was so manic with the pound selling off, but with slightly more quiet waters, I think a long of the pound is probably quite a good trade.
Interesting little double pump there on Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't follow through though. We kind of just got stuck there.
Yeah.
That goes to your point, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder whether now with the dust settling down a little bit, we could actually get just a little bit of an easing up again, and just for a little while.
We shall see. We've been under enormous pressure, without question. Righto, Euro Aussie was asked about earlier. Sino, I think you were asking about Euro Aussie and a short on the hourly or the H4. I actually don't see that at the moment. I'm probably thinking you're looking at that bar there. And that is attractive, very, very similar to the euro dollar candle that we were looking at before. And I do like that. I wouldn't be trading it on a Friday full stop, but at that point I'd be sound asleep anyway. And I guess at this point there was no point in doing that. There's also a setup short underneath this bar, a little bit dangerous, trading into that low. But here I just see a mess at the moment on H1, on H4. Well, sorry, I'll go on with that. There would be a trade if this were to happen. And that would be pin. If this bar, or it doesn't matter where it closes, as long as it's not above the monthly pivot, but if it closes anywhere in here, and then we get another one that doesn't come back below the trade line, and then one that does, so under here like this, maybe even hitting that support line again, retesting the daily pivot, weekly pivot combination, which is, they're flat on one another by the look of it. I think the daily pivot's in there somewhere. Or is it up here? Good question. I'll find that out in a minute. Either way, there would be a potential there for a short at that point. So this line's interesting. I like it. these little nudges and pullbacks are pretty handy. So I'll be watching for that, and that would be my short on H1 if I was thinking that way. And I suppose I am, because I'm a bear the euro. It's not in my watch list at the moment, but absolutely, why not? Can't see a reason. 4-hour chart. It's pretty much the same, really. That line's probably still valid on the 4-hour chart as well, as is that one. So yeah, same thing. Maybe that's tradable, but again, it's the same, exactly the same trade as on the hourly chart, and a little bit dangerous at that point. So I'd be waiting for that to happen and then look to trade it. But I get where you're going, and that's all good. Monthly pivot looks to have rejected this for the 4th time, once, twice, second, third, 4th time. And yeah, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't have a short bias on that. But my watch list begins with Swissy yen. And these are all very similar, aren't they? Euro, US dollar, same thing. I don't have 3 little Indians here, but I've got a fairly substantial double top. I've got a dominant bearish engulfing bar here, which led to a couple of inside bars. Then it broke to the short side, as it does. That was a key reversal bar. Did we speak about this last week? Swissy yen, I think we must have. Wow, okay, interesting. And then, of course, we've put in the lower high. It is a big bar to trade, but I do like it. And again, it's an inside bar that's followed it. You would be entering there. You could have a choice of stop loss here or here. And your first take profit would need to be there, in my humble opinion. Your second take profit probably needs to be in this vicinity, across these highs. And the rest you can just let rip down to this area here. So I think that's definitely a proposition that you'd want to be looking at, if not trading at the moment. That Swissy yen double top, lower high with a bar that I do like. It is a bit big, and that's the only thing with that one. You may get a better opportunity off a 4-hour chart, but it's not there yet. You can see the 4-hour charts just all over the place. So yeah, that's a no at the moment on the 4-hour. But if it were to pop up here, say, and pick up this trend line, or even the one that's a bit lower, be pretty much the same, I would think. So same as I've just described on Euro Aussie, if it broke to the high side here, found these highs again, ducked back underneath and retested the backside of that trend line, then away you go. But that is the really top of my pops for this week. The only, well, if I go a little bit wider, I'll explain why that is the case. And that's because this level here, which is a little bit of a cloud of a price, and you can see we've been, or we've been to it, and we've bounced off it to some degree. It may spend a little bit more time here and try and get through, but I can't see any reason why it would, unless there's something substantial from a fundamental aspect comes out and spooks it like it did here back in 2015, and we all know what happened there. But that's very rare times, right? So I don't see why this could go or should go through here at the first attempt. And for that reason, I think it will bounce. And maybe even, well, there's a few levels that you could look at. There's one there. And there's definitely one there as well. So, yeah, I reckon this is a worthwhile proposition throughout the week. Swissy yen short for those reasons that I've just listed. The next one is, pardon me, EuroCAD. Now, I've been banging on about EuroCAD for the longest time. I think we've traded it 6, maybe even 7 times now, trying to pick up this big move, and it just hasn't been there. Where is it? EuroCAD. And of course, last week it went banging straight up to the daily pivot, monthly pivot, and there it has had a little bit of a stall. and gone into this mini consolidation area, pardon me, on a 4-hour chart I'm looking at there. But the daily chart, again, has got that very same bar, hasn't it, that we've been looking at on euro dollar, on euro Aussie, on Swiss yen. They're all the same. They are an attempt to get through a level and a fail to get through a level. And I think, once again, this is an opportunity to trade below that bar with your stop loss above it. On Euro CAD, and still the big picture is telling me that we're going short over time. That's the daily chart that's got this big double top sitting on it. That's the weekly chart that's got the same double top sitting on it. And I really would be surprised if those highs get taken out before we see a substantial sell-off to somewhere. Where? Yeah, good question. But if symmetry means anything, then, we're down to here somewhere. And that's when Batman's mask comes into play. But I must say, he's getting a little bit misshapen now. He needs to get down here in a bit of a hurry, in my humble opinion, to fulfill my my imagery, if you like. But that bar there, to my mind, is, again, potentially the one that will send it south. It may come earlier on a 4-hour chart, but again, like Swissie yen, it's very, very difficult now. It's in a bit of a bind, or in a bit of a mess. Again, maybe pick up a trend line through here and consider a false break of that area. Back underneath the monthly pivot, retest the confluence area. Gee, I think that'll be a good trade if it does set up that Euro CAD. Dollar yen, goodness gracious, Ignatius. Still got that order in the market from, was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is the amount of inside bars to the right, because that's the only thing that can change. This one can't. But you can see how dominant that bar is. It really is just engulfing everything in its sight all around here. And that, of course, means that it's coiling like a big spring, and at some stage this will release. And there's probably a couple of ways to trade this. You could trade the high and the low of the bar as a breakout if you really wanted to. The candle's a bit big for that, but I think there's probably a way to pick it up at some stage. Just keep watching the breaks and the false breaks, and hopefully the false breaks will lead you to the right direction. I really don't know which way this is going to break out, to be fair. But what I see is the dominant candle here, which is a bear bar, retest, which of course retested all the pivots and the trade line. And that's why it's just a setup for me to take it short. And as I said, I'm going to keep replacing this order until it's triggered, or until we go this way, either way. So that's still there. Euro Swissie is, did we speak about Euro Swissie? I don't think we did, but it's the same. It's exactly the same as the rest. 3 little Indians sitting here. A bar that's, well, it's probably the second bar that's rejected the monthly pivot. And it is also across the daily pivot today and the weekly pivot of this week, which will go this way, of course. That's going to be the same level as the monthly pivot. So I think that's, I don't like its situation or the place it's actually presented itself. I'd much prefer it up here, I've got to say, where euro dollar has. And I guess the reason I'm choosing this over euro dollar is my lack of belief that the dollar is going to rally. But I've been wanting that to happen and calling that to happen for, it's got to be months now. It just hasn't happened. And that's the reason. I don't know the timing now of the US dollar's just got me completely bamboozled. Maybe the Fed moves this week. I don't know. Maybe it moves before the Fed in concert with what it's been trying to do for the last week or so, or last couple of weeks now. It's been trying to rally, and it's just not trustworthy, in my opinion. So I think this one's probably better than euro dollar. I think the Swissie has probably got prospects against the euro, where it probably doesn't have prospects against the yen, and that's the big difference between those two. One, I wouldn't call it a hedge, but it's very much one conflicting with the other. I'll put it that way. So I'm not actually committed to this candle because of its situation. If it was up here, yes, I would, but I still, it's under notice. I'll put it that way. And if it were to break and I get a retest, then I would jump in. Or if I get, again, that lower high sitting in a better position, I think Euro Swiss is the better one for me. So that is the watch list, mate, that I've got. So I'll have a quick squiz around the 30-minute charts. Yeah, that bar on the euro is very, very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And whether it becomes, whether it's a master candle or not is not the information to me. It's the fact that we had an opportunity to with news and with a press release and with a statement, we had an opportunity to kind of get into some bullish price action and hold a level. But it didn't. There was no follow through. After trying to driving up there, whatever Christine Lagarde was perceived to have said in the first half an hour was, I guess, perceived in the opposite way straight afterwards, or that it was just like, well, she hasn't really said anything. That's going to potentially strengthen the euro, and they are very uncomfortable. That's the other thing about this, that the EU. Or the ECB, I should say, are extremely uncomfortable with the cost and the price of the euro and where it is. Now, they can't legally go out and manipulate the currency, so it does weaken. But there might be a few bits and pieces that they might try and do.
Yep.
Just to kind of like bring the euro, the cost of the euro down a bit, because the relief fund that they put together and the package they put together to try and boost the economy after the pandemic isn't going to work as well with a strong euro, and everybody knows that. So that's one of the things. I mean, there's many other reasons that I would be short euro, or looking for a short euro, I should say, in this area. But one of them is because of what I've just said about Christine Lagarde and the information that we're getting from that particular bar. I thought that was quite significant information that we got from that one bar. So I am looking for shorts. But yeah, the question for me is, do you go short straight under it, or do you let it go under the bar first and close there just to make sure it stays there, and then try and trigger the short on the next session?
Well, yeah, that's a personal choice, I suppose. At the end of the day, my way of thinking is that's a tradable bar.
Yep.
The only issue I've got is the lows that we're trading straight into. That's a bit of an issue. But if this is to play out, then that's not going to stop it. If it's going to go, it's going to go now, in my opinion. So that's the difference. And I've chosen Euro Swissy over this, and I'm not sure why now. I'm trying to talk myself into it because it looks, it actually is in a better position than Euro Swissy.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's the dollar that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, the dollar is. I agree, mate. The dollar's been an absolute dog, and you see, I am my bias is for short euro, sideways to short gold. Same with silver, and the same with actually Bitcoin just short. I just want to get short on Bitcoin. And that's because I've got a long bias on the dollar. I think the dollar does start to strengthen. We got this election coming up. Maybe that's the reason. It's hard to put my finger on why, but I do think that it was quite significant that we had a rally against the dollar after some pretty poor jobs data and Christine Lagarde, and yet we're exactly where we were, pretty much, before any of that stuff happened. So it's, from what I can see, there is a shift happening, and these are the sort of points in the market. The market's pretty quiet today. The FTSE has pretty much gone almost nowhere since it's open, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it go nowhere at all this week. But today. But we are in this range. We got this range going on with the euro dollar that's been there for over a month. near 2 months actually. We're just stuck in this range. But I wonder whether we're getting we're getting ready to get out of it. You look at gold; it's the same thing. We're stuck in this range. I wonder whether in the course of the next maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 weeks, this is the time we're going to see our next leg of price action. Could be up. Who knows? Maybe it is up. But I wouldn't be surprised at all to see all of these come back a bit over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, look, a lot of people calling for it, and I find it hard to disagree. But there's that doubt in my mind, in particular on the dollar, and I keep saying it, and it will go, and it'll do it exactly when I won't be there. But dollar yen's the one that I think I'm just going to stick with, because of the longer term scenario with dollar yen, and dollar yen seems to have a mind of its own. Doesn't matter what's happening.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. You see, John's just saying that at some point the Fed will have to come out and back the US dollar going up, and it's probably the only way to get the debt down, and they'll need inflation to run hot, and maybe that is what's going to happen. Maybe that is the driver. But I wouldn't, parts of the driver might just be that we're about to go into a point of uncertainty. Don't get me wrong, I'm short the dollar after probably November, after the election in a result. I'm probably short dollar, definitely into January next year.
I totally agree with that. Longer term, definitely it's a sell. But...
Yeah, it's a sell. But yeah, on the short term, I'm just looking for this bounce, and I'm not necessarily convinced that it's going to be a Fed play necessarily. I think it might just be that there could be just some nervousness because of the uncertainty, which puts the yen in a very weird position. Because if you go to find protection somewhere, a lot of people do use the dollar for protection, especially when it's at the value that it's at. So they might look for the dollar to get some protection. But then with a risk off, we know that the yen is also, it falls into that category. So trading the dollar versus the yen, I mean, I agree. It could be just a bit strange. It's almost a strange play. If the dollar strengthens, the yen may well still strengthen. It might still, depending on why the dollar's strengthened, I suppose. That's going to be the question. But I wonder, maybe the Fed do come out and say something. Maybe John's right. Maybe the Fed come out and say something which is effectively a bit more, maybe it's less aggressive language that we hear from them on Wednesday, and because of that less aggressive language, maybe we start to see a bit more price action that moves higher with the dollar. But yeah, I see the same thing there, and maybe it's even more complex than that. Maybe the August double bottom there that you see in August, maybe that's also a left shoulder, and actually those two middle ones that you got there is the head. Maybe more of a complex inverted head and shoulders where. Yeah, that's the head, and actually we've had one dip of the right shoulder, and we need one more dip to come down for the right shoulder, and yeah, I wonder whether that's what we're looking at. Possibly, but I'm still bullish dollar either way. I think the longer term view is different, but I think over the next 6 weeks we see a push to the upside with the dollar, making me bearish on gold, as I say, bearish on silver, and very bearish on Bitcoin as it goes. Out of all of them, it's Bitcoin that I really would like to go after.
Okay, I'm just reading through the questions. Oh, this is only that one from John that you've covered. Okay, all good. So, yeah, I haven't got any trades right now apart from those potential ones that I've pointed out to you guys, and they're all on daily charts, the 30-minute. And did you take profit on the pound, guys? You should have.
Oh, nice work, mate.
You should have taken your first profit. Whilst I was talking, it went through TP1. So I haven't. I have not. So what I do then, if I haven't taken my TP1 and it's gone through it, is I move my stops to entry, and I will effectively probably close myself out of that trade.
Nicely done.
The reason I do that is because it messes with my head if I get stopped out on a trade that I should have had at least break even, if not win. It won't let me do it. I'll just have to close it. But you guys should have taken your TP1, and your stop should now be at minus minus 10. Okay, so I'm just going to close that. So that's break even for me. You guys should still be in, having taken first profit. Yeah, mate, I haven't got much else. We haven't spoken about the Aussie, I suppose, this day.
No, I mean, I haven't either, and actually, I don't think nobody's missing anything. I'll very, very quickly. I'm just going to show you something on this screen here.
Okay, I'll answer your questions, Sino, when we come back. Aussie Swiss and Aussie CAD from last week. Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Do you know, this will tell you all you need to know really from the first, what's going on. You look down at your price changes on your market watch, and when they're flicking like they are, it's basically telling you that nobody's doing anything. And if they're not doing anything, then I'm not doing anything either. This is a day to kind of work and get prepared for the week that's coming or the month that's coming, the rest of the month that's coming, whichever time frame that you choose to kind of prepare for. This is really a prep day. And that's what I'll be doing. As soon as we leave the show, mate, I'm going to get on with some work and just have a look around and make some choices about some price points that I'd quite like, and maybe even some catalysts that might get me into the market. But otherwise, no, I won't be pulling the trigger today. I can say that with almost 100% confidence.
Yep.
I might get kind of turned around in the US session. It's possible, but we'll know in the first 10 minutes whether we're going to trade the US session or not. It's possible that we do, because things can change obviously very, very quickly. But the likelihood is that today will be work, just to prep and all that kind of thing. Incidentally, there's the debate on the Brexit bill is today, mate, but there's not necessarily going to be a vote. If there is, it'll be later on. But they'll be debating it today. Yeah.
That may mean the pound might be a bit tricky.
Yeah, I think it will. I think the pound's still got some upside to go. I'd be much more comfortable with a long than a short on the pound. Just seeing some dollar weakness come into play, and if there's some possible good news that comes out from the pound, then that would suggest a long, I would have thought. But that's also not potentially going to be particularly good for the FTSE, and that the DXY is very overextended. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, cool. Cool, that'd be great, Shukri. Yeah, let us know let's know what that Larry Williams is saying. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, that's the thing, John. I think that's the only answer really, is to figure out what our angles are. What are our potential opportunities. One of the reasons I can't trade or I don't want to trade is because I'm waiting for things to come back. So I need what's going on right now to get me a better price. But I can't trade it. I don't really want to trade against my overall view. So Larry says tomorrow is a down day. You remember Shukri mentioning it. It's a down day on the S&P. That would not be a huge surprise. We are looking for weakness in the S&P.
Is today you guys S&P day? Is it the third Monday this week?
Oh gosh, that's a good point, mate. Actually,
yeah.
No, okay. Next week.
Next week, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. One day, I'll place a trade on that.
Yeah, so we can remember next week.
How long have we been following that? Just did the second year, and I've never placed one.
I know. Well, we don't. I think we get absorbed with other things really, and I really like that as a trade. But and I like the statistical element, aspect to it. But I'd find it difficult to put that on and switch off from it when there's so many other things that I consider when I do actually put a trade in the market.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's because of the Sunday show. I do Sunday analysis now for the week. And the very next time I look at my charts is 41 hours ago. 1 hour ago from now is when
Yeah.
that's the next time I look at my charts, because
Yeah.
I'm not a Monday trader, never have been.
Well, Monday tends to be a bit quiet as well, doesn't it? Because there's not usually a slew of information on a Monday, so it makes
Yeah,
it a little bit more of a tricky day
the
to
market
trade as
moves when
well.
the market moves, I guess, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility for the market to move on Mondays. There's no question about that. It's just that I guess my lifestyle doesn't work on Mondays. I don't wake up from the weekend till around about midday, and by then I've got work to do and all the rest of it before the show. So I don't know. This doesn't fit me.
Yeah. Well, I think there's whether you're doing that because you put it down on a spreadsheet or because you just can't do it is a completely different thing. But I think it's quite good for people to know which days they like to trade. Because you didn't used to like trading Fridays, did you? Or maybe you still don't.
Again, that's a time thing. I do deliveries on Friday as well, so it's kind of I don't get in front of the charts too much. By the time I get home from deliveries, it's beer o'clock, and that's really the only thing I'm interested in on a Friday afternoon is having a couple of cold ones.
Yeah, don't blame you, mate. Well, there goes our pounds or your pounds. Hopefully, you're still there as well.
I'm not in, but you guys should be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just managing to get its way a little bit higher. Looks like there could be a few pips in this as well, mate. Quite like the pound.
Yeah, it was a great decision to close it.
Yeah.
That's just
Now,
one of my rule things. If I miss TP1 and I lose on the trade, I just get so peeved with myself.
Yeah.
Because I've missed it for a reason. Today it's because I'm talking,
Yeah,
and,
sure.
that often happens.
Yeah.
But again, if I then come back and it goes against me and I've lost on the trade that I should have won on, that's really bad.
Yeah.
That's why I just move to entry and whatever happens, happens. What deliveries do I do? Bamboo, Sino. Bamboo plants. Sorry, mate.
I was just having a look to see whether it's actually something with the dollar as well, because I'm seeing a bit of dollar weakness as well, so that's helping the pound out. Yeah, a dollar weak there against the Swissy, flat against the Aussie. Let's see what it's against the euro. Yeah, a bit of a push to the upside with the euro as well. So a few things out there, mate. But generally speaking, it is pretty quiet. So yeah, I'm putting the Q in the rack until later on.
Fair call.
Yeah, just going to come back at 1:30 for our pre-seeder for the US show, and we'll talk to. I'd quite like to see what you got actually, Shukri, with Larry Williams. So let's talk about that in the US show. Maybe just pop on in and just show us what you got with that. That'd be really, really useful.
Okay. To Alan, I'll answer all of these questions that I've got. You done, mate?
Yeah, all done.
Righto. So with pound TP2, it is 2 times your risk. So it is today. The TP2 is 1.2874. See you later, Chandru. So W risk is where you take your second profit. And generally, I leave it up to you guys what you want to do there. You should have taken half off at TP1, move your stops 10 pips from entry, giving you a free trade. And at TP2, you can either take another half off, or half of the half, or you can do nothing. You can move your stops to entry, most definitely, on either way you handle it. And you can just trail whatever you want to do. I'll leave it up to you guys. But best course of action over time should be to take a TP2 and take the second or half of the second half off, if you like. So bank it. You can't go broke banking. That is the one thing that I have always said, and didn't manage to get enough in the bank on those pound pairs last. Never mind. So back to the question on Aussie Swiss and Aussie CAD, I think it was, wasn't it, Alan? Or was it Sino who asked me that question? I can't remember. It was Sino. Okay, Aussie Swiss and Aussie CAD. Now, I've still got both of those orders in the market, I think, neither of which is triggered. So Aussie Swiss, yes, I do. 65.95. Do I still want to leave that there is the question. It's dodgy, isn't it? It really is. It just keeps rejecting this level. So for that reason, it is dodgy. But I still think, where are we taking TP1? 65.28, it's fair way away. Entry is about here somewhere, isn't it? There-ish. So we're not far from it. 65.28 is there. Yeah, I'm prepared to leave it on. Aussie CAD was the other one. And we're trading that bar there. Keeps rejecting, doesn't it? The only thing I would do here is change the order. So entry remains the same, but stop loss goes above these highs here. So let me give that a number. So your risk remains the same. Your entry remains the same, but your stop loss needs to move to just above DR1 there, 96.24. So you're actually increasing the amount of pips that you're putting at risk, which of course will reduce your winning potential per pip. But I think that's the wise thing to do. So if you have missed those entries, the entry level was underneath that bar at, no, I can't remember what the entry was. It should be here somewhere, shouldn't it? Terminal. Dollar yen. Aussie CAD. 95.28 is the entry. Oh, I'm not on Aussie. Yeah, I am. 95.28 is the entry on Aussie CAD. And the stop loss is at 96.13. And would be there at 94.36 or thereabouts. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I'm holding both those. They're still there, as is dollar yen. Okay. Is that the end of the questions? %, 100 million. What Shukri? Shukri's on a little bit later on. And what are you doing tonight, Shukri? Just reading these. I can't give you power to talk to us, can I? The picture of the cycle. Okay. The picture of the cycle. Shukri's going to go through that later in his shows. And I think I should know this, shouldn't I? What time, Shukri? Is it 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock you're on? And I will see the farm on Wednesday crypto show. Yes, it's the bearing fruit. Good. My farm's going well. Pleased to say. Shukri, what time are you on? It's on this same channel, I believe, I'm pretty sure it's 7 o'clock. So Shukri's in shock. He's gone to the doctor somewhere. I'm not sure. Anyway, mate, I'm done. You're done. We're done. And we'll be back, of course, in the pre-US session, which is at 8:30.
Yep, that's right. What era are we in?
What year?
2010s, is it? 2010s to 20s.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes.
All righty. All right. 20 teens, we'll have to call them.
That'll do.
All right. Okay, then we will see you for then, guys. Yeah, for everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow. Quiet day. Can't really do anything about the way the market is, but that's fine. But as I say, prep day. Get some work done. Get some ideas for the week. It's really important. And it helps you each week to be able to judge really what you're doing. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of that in the US show if it's quiet as well.
Yeah, that pound might turn out all right, eh? Up to there, that'd be a decent trade. Happy days. All right, guys. See you when we see you, and I'll catch you, Ash, at 8:30.
Fantastic, mate. See you in a bit.
Hooroo.